I think we sort of knew we were going to get to this point. The Senate approved it and all of that, and this is where we are at this point in time. But talking about the Senate, recently the Senate did also have a conversation. Was on Wednesday we first saw the story about how when it comes to election issues and petitions, it's going to change the burden of proof. The person who is going to prove that actually things are actually done the right way. What we have right now is the petitioners, would go to court and say, this is the proof we have that this did not go well during the election. And, INEC would actually play the defense team there. This time around, they're proposing that it switches the other way. INEC will be the one to come with the burden of proof to prove that actually we have actually done things well, or the procedures were carried out, and we can say for a fact that this was free and fair, and this is the actual result of the election. Opposition parties actually, are in support of this, like PDP, Labour Party, and CUPP. They are actually applauding this move. But in light of the things that will be on the table for Professor Joash Amopiton coming in, with talks about election reforms coming in, how does this affect INEC going forward?
Okay, it's an interesting development to the whole electoral reform process that's going on, and that's where this conversation is stemming from.
Yeah.
The problem is this supposes that the elections will still be contentious. This supposes that people will still, which is normal in any human interaction, that people will not people will find something to be grieved about. But we are hoping that we get to a point in our elections where it will be transparent, free and fair, and all the political players behave how they should behave rightly. Because here's the problem with electoral malpractices. Everybody suspects everybody of doing the same thing. So party A is saying, oh, my candidate rigged. The opposing party rigged.
Yeah.
And the opposing party who won says, no, I didn't rig. I won. And INEC is saying, well, he won the election, so he followed all the laid down procedures. Now, the thing is, INEC should be an independent and neutral party. One of the challenges people are complaining about is even before elections are announced, results are announced, what powers do INEC have to say you didn't follow these laid down rules and regulations, so we are going to stop this process and we continue, which we have not seen much of INEC do in recent times. Remember the famous go to court by the former INEC chairman, where people said, oh, these things were not in line with, for instance, when I think the whole IRF thing went off, there wasn't, INEC didn't come out to say, okay, because these things weren't done, let's. And then if you have also followed litigation processes within the legal framework of elections and all that, you discover that INEC is usually one of the most difficult parties to extract documents from. Sometimes you need certain things to prove your case, and INEC would delay it, tell you it's not available, that this one happened to it, and then maybe rain beats the beavers machine and the data wiped out, and a whole lot of other things. So it puts INEC in a position where it feels like they are being controlled by whoever wins, and the picture that's painted from the other lens of the maybe whoever has lost the election is that they are siding this in favor of this other candidate who has won, and so they've declared the election. That's that. Now this other school of thought now is coming that INEC will still not be a neutral party. You understand? Because it will still want to defend its elections. Because it has conducted the election, it doesn't want to look inept and incompetent. Because if I say, somebody said, I think in the story about them going to court and they saw result sheets that were mutilated, cancelled out, and all that, and the judge did not ask questions
about that.
My point is, half of this problem is the judiciary. Because sometimes some things are so glaring, and you see the judiciary stand it up on its head. If you see proof, if we're all here as laymen, we're not learned colleagues or anything, learned sick, but there are proofs I will show you that are almost incontrovertible. But you go to court, certain things do not hold, certain things they're not even admitted as evidence. So I think it's high time, when we are doing these electoral reforms and everything, the judiciary is carried along in every sphere, because we might shift this burden of proof to INEC. But if the judiciary does not acknowledge it, we've we've had laws that says, oh, if you defect, for instance, you will lose your seat. But the courts didn't recognize it for one reason or another, sometimes on technicalities. So, yes, it seems like a good move, but how is the judiciary going to uphold its own side of this deal? Because the politicians will politic, and INEC want to defend its reputation. The only neutral party in this whole scenario should be the judiciary, and once they can stand on the side of truth, I believe every other person will comply.
Okay. Also with us here this morning is Wade Ahime, who is here this lovely Friday with us.
Thank God it's Friday. Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning.
Good morning, Joshua.
Good morning.
Great analysis, Joshua.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Awade.
You want me to talk about INEC?
Well, that's what we're talking about, but don't worry, I'm going to push this to you. Obviously, Joshua said a lot about the potential